This 3-step offer framework makes $10,000 per month. You've been lied to. They told you success comes down to luck, followers, or having the perfect product. But what if I told you that none of that matters if your offer is broken? And worse, most people don't even realize theirs is. The truth? You don't need a fancy funnel, a huge audience, or to spend years building a brand. You just need 3 very specific steps, a framework that's helped everyday people turn their skill set, passion, or side hustle into a predictable $10,000 per month machine. It's simple, it's repeatable, and it's completely misunderstood by 90% of the market. This isn't theory. You'll see how it works, why it works, and how to apply it right now, even if you're starting from zero. But let me warn you, once you see this, you'll never look at your business or your potential the same way again. So buckle up, because what you're about to learn could be the last missing piece between you and the income you've been chasing. No one's coming to save you. He sat in the silence of his own thoughts, waiting for something to change. Maybe a lucky break. Maybe someone to show up and hand him the life he dreamed of. But here's the hard truth. No one's coming. The world doesn't care if you're tired, if you're confused, or if you've been hurt before. That's not cruel. It's just reality. And the sooner you face it, the faster you reclaim your power. It's not about being cold. It's about waking up. You see, the problem with waiting is that life doesn't pause with you. While you hesitate, someone outside is moving. While you doubt, someone else is building. And when you keep telling yourself it's not the right time, guess what? That voice in your head is lying to you. Because there's never a perfect moment. There's only the moment when you decide to stop depending and start doing. Let me put it like this. You could spend the next 10 years hoping someone gives you a chance, or you could spend the next 10 months creating your own. Which one do you think leads to freedom? To real transformation? It starts when you understand that the world owes you nothing, but you owe yourself everything. That's when you stop playing the victim and start playing the game. And speaking of games, let's talk about the rules most people ignore. Reality is harsh, but it will set you free. Life isn't fair. That's not a punchline, it's a principle. The sooner you swallow that bitter pill, the sooner you stop choking on false expectations. See, growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in pressure, in failure, in the quiet moments when you question everything but keep showing up anyway. Most people run from pain like it's poison. But pain is a teacher that doesn't whisper, it slaps you into focus. Think about it. How many people waste years trying to avoid discomfort? They switch jobs because their boss is too demanding, they end relationships because it got hard, and they quit dreams because it wasn't the right time. But here's the kicker. Discomfort is where life begins. Every breakthrough is born from a breakdown. And every time you run from pain, you miss the exact door that would have led to transformation. You don't need another escape route. You need a reason to stay in the fire long enough to forge something better. That fire? It's not your enemy. It's your forge, your discipline, your awakening. You'll never grow if you're busy trying to numb yourself. The challenge is to lean in, not back away. And once you stop avoiding pain, you'll start seeing the power in owning it. Which brings us to another trap most people fall into without realizing. Stop blaming everyone else. It's easy to blame the boss, the government, your parents, or the economy. Feels good too, for a while. It gives you an excuse to stay still, to complain without changing, to suffer without responsibility. But here's the truth. Every time you point a finger, you surrender your power. Because while you're busy blaming someone else, you're also saying, I can't do anything about this. And that's the real tragedy, not what they did to you, but what you've stopped doing for yourself. Let's be honest, life will throw you unfair moments. People will wrong you. Circumstances will suck. But carrying that like a trophy of pain doesn't serve you. If your story is always about what someone else didn't do, you've become a passenger in your own life. And passengers don't get to choose the destination. They go wherever the driver decides. So, who's driving your life right now? Be brutally honest. Look, no one is saying it's your fault, but it is your responsibility. There's a big difference. You can't control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. That's where your freedom begins. That's where the real shift happens. And once you stop outsourcing your results, you unlock something most people never access: the inner authority to design a life you actually want. But you can't claim that authority unless you understand what real responsibility means. Responsibility is freedom in disguise. Most people think responsibility is a burden, something heavy, something forced. But they've got it backwards. Responsibility isn't a weight, it's wings. It gives you the ability to move, to choose, to shift direction anytime you want. Once you realize that your life is yours, no excuses, no scapegoats, something clicks. You stop waiting. You start building. Because nothing changes until you do. Imagine what happens when you take 100% ownership of everything in your life. Not just the wins, but the failures, the patterns, the distractions, the silence. You start to see the connection between your choices and your reality. And from there, you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" That shift, from victim to visionary, is where real power lives. It's the difference between being controlled and being in control. There's no freedom like the freedom of knowing that your life is in your hands. And sure, it's scary. There's no one left to blame, no one to lean on when you fall. But that fear, it's fuel. It pushes you to grow, to get better, to stop living on autopilot and start acting with intention. Because once you step into responsibility, you step into creation mode. And when you're the creator, you're no longer reacting to life, you're designing it. Which brings us to the next prison we've got to talk about. Victimhood is a comfortable cage. There's a strange comfort in playing the victim. It feels safe. You get sympathy, you get to avoid risk, and you don't have to take the hit if things go wrong. But what most people don't realize is that victimhood is a luxury you can't afford. It's a prison with soft pillows and locked doors. You may feel cozy, but you're stuck. And every time you blame, complain, or justify, you're tightening the chains around your own potential. You've probably met someone who always has a reason why things didn't work out. It wasn't the right time. They didn't support me. I never got the chance. The truth? Those are stories, comfortable lies that kill momentum. The longer you live in that narrative, the further you drift from the life you could have had. And ironically, the moment you stop feeling sorry for yourself is the same moment you start doing something powerful, taking back your agency. See, the world doesn't need more victims, it needs more warriors. People willing to feel the fear and do it anyway. People who stop asking for permission and start writing their own path. And that kind of mindset, it's built on consistency, on showing up whether you feel like it or not. That's the next mountain most people never climb, but if you want real change, we're going there. Discipline and consistency beat talent every time. Talent might open the door, but only discipline keeps you in the room. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to show up when it's hard, boring, or inconvenient. That's where the edge is. Not in brilliance, but in behavior repeated daily. The ones who win aren't the most gifted, they're the ones who kept going when everyone else tapped out. And if that sounds too simple to be true, well, that's exactly why it works. Let me give it to you straight. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. You can't build a life on your best days. You build it on the days you don't feel like doing anything, but do it anyway. Think about the guy who reads 10 pages every day, who works out even when he's tired, who invests a little every month, no matter what. He's not flashy, but over time, he becomes unstoppable. Consistency compounds. Like money in a high-interest account, your small efforts grow into massive results, but only if you keep making deposits. One missed day doesn't ruin you, but one excuse repeated over time? That's what leads to mediocrity. And you weren't built for that. You weren't built to coast. You were built to lead. And to lead, you've got to make a decision. A decision to step into the role most people avoid. Choose to be the protagonist. There comes a moment, quiet, sometimes unnoticed, when you realize the pen has always been in your hand. You've been the author all along. The problem? You've been letting fear write your chapters. But that ends now. Because the life you want won't arrive with fanfare. It begins the moment you decide to stop waiting and start acting like the main character. Not in theory. In action. In identity. Reinvention isn't some magical rebirth. It's a decision. A decision to try again after failing. To start when you're scared. To pivot when life breaks your plans in half. Look at anyone who built something meaningful. They weren't lucky. They were relentless. They chose courage over comfort. They said yes to action, even when clarity wasn't there. They became the protagonist by default, because everyone else chose to spectate. So the question is, are you waiting for the perfect moment? Or are you willing to create it? Because nothing changes until you do. The life you crave, the freedom you want, the person you're meant to become, it's all waiting on one thing: you taking the lead. And when you do, well, let's just say, things start to shift fast. Especially when you understand how to design opportunities, not wait for them. Let me ask you something. What are you going to do with all ISO? Because now you know the truth. You know that nobody's coming to save you. That comfort is a trap. That every excuse you hold on to is just another wall between you and the life you say you want. So, what's stopping you? What excuse do you need to finally throw away? What action are you still avoiding? And most importantly, how long will you keep putting off the life you were meant to lead? Here's the challenge. Pick one idea from this video. Just one. Apply it today. Not tomorrow. Today. Write that message. Send that proposal. Read that book. Go to the gym. Launch the offer. Start small if you have to, but start. And if you felt this video spoke directly to you, don't keep it to yourself. Backhand index pointing right, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, because every week we drop content designed to wake you up, build you up, and get you moving. Because in the end, it's not about watching another video. It's about becoming someone new because of it. And that journey starts right now.